Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you by Coca-Cola, providing Alaskans with quality soft drinks since 1937.
By Cook Inlet Region Incorporated, an Alaska Native corporation promoting economic and social progress for people throughout the state.
By the generous support of the Alaska Native Health Board.
Welcome to Heartbeat Alaska. I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you Native news across the North. Happy 4th of July. Today was filled with festivities from Barrow to St. Paul Islands to Russian Mission all the way down to Southeast Alaska. And we'll be bringing you those 4th of Julys next week. Today we'll take a look at what's happening here in good old Anchorage. There are 18,000 Native people that live here. Perhaps you'll see one of your relatives wishing you a happy 4th of July. But first, here's Gary Fife with National Native News.
This is National Native News. I'm Gary Fife. The U.S. House and Senate have given final approval to an emergency spending bill that includes money to tide Bureau of Indian Affairs schools over till next year and to help deal with the costs of the illness called a hantavirus that has hit the Navajo Nation. The bill earmarks $21 million to help cover the shortfall in BIA school funding this year. Without it, some schools would have had trouble opening in August and September. $6 million will help go to track down and treat the flu-like virus that has killed over 20 people in the Southwest and stricken others. The spending bill also includes $6 million for the Alaska Native Fuel Resupply Program, and it contains a measure that gives Alaska Natives a priority for grants for wastewater treatment in rural villages. An Alaska Native corporation on Kodiak Island has clashed with state and federal officials over land usage plans, and the Native corporation has ordered them out. The Kodiak Corporation is seeking to build an airstrip and hunting and fishing lodge on their lands near the Carlick River. Some state wildlife officials have publicly opposed the plan by signing petitions against the development. That move has been drawing fire from the Native corporation, and state agencies have disavowed the actions of their employees. The closure of the Native lands will shut down 2 current salmon studies and put off a planned 3rd study. Kodiak leaders say the corporation has the right to choose what it wants to do with their own land. The Nooksack tribe on the border between north-central Washington state and Canada is calling for the Environmental Protection Agency to clean up the river named after the tribe. Tribal officials say thermal and sediment pollution in the Nooksack River Basin has been implicated as a source of poor survival for salmon. Policy officials for the tribe have met with their U.S. Senate delegation to enlist their aid in enforcement of the Federal Clean Water Act. The Crow Tribe of Montana has launched a campaign against drug abuse among its tribal members. Indian Country Today reports that the Tribal Housing Authority and community members have formed the Crow Tribal Housing Authority Drug Elimination Program. Program coordinator Ada Ben says drug-related crime was on the rise, so they used a grant from the Department of Housing and Urban Development to fund the plan. To date, they've conducted musical concerts, workshops, and have added street lights and security guards to tribal housing projects. Ben says the community feedback they've heard so far is positive, and it tells them the program is welcome because it's aimed at youth. And finally, the issue of locating a nuclear waste storage facility has been studied by some tribes and rejected by most, but there is still some interest in the scheme. The Eastern Shawnees of Miami, Oklahoma have applied for a Phase 2 grant from the Department of Energy. According to tribal planner Nellis Captain, it would be used to educate tribal members about the idea. The Shawnees are considering an MRS, Monitored Retrieval Storage Facility, a site used to temporarily store spent nuclear fuel. Captain says there have been some attempts at organizing protests against the plan, but they were only moderately successful. This is National Native News, and for Heartbeat Alaska, I'm Gary Fife.
Thanks, Gary. We'll be back with 4th of July in Anchorage right after these messages.
Vince, remember how we got our jobs telling people to buckle up?
Yeah, it seems just like yesterday.
Buckle up, baby, buckle up.
Next.
To buckle or not to buckle?
Next.
The band.
Next.
We are never going to find a safety belt spokesperson.
Let's get buckled!
Yeah, we've helped save thousands of lives.
But some people still don't buckle up. So let's hit it!
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
One, do you know the difference between HIV and AIDS? Two, how safe? The virus does not discriminate.
If you have news or information from your village or community, please call Heartbeat Alaska, area code 907-563-3507, or fax 907-563-7079.
For years, Alaska Natives have come to Anchorage for major medical care. ANS Hospital is a familiar place to almost everyone from rural Alaska. Well, a new hospital is being built. Sylvia Carlson from the Indian Health Service provided us a computerized version of what it will look like. The new Alaska Native Medical Center replaces the existing 185,000 square foot structure that was built and opened in 1953 as a tuberculosis sanitarium. The sanitarium was converted for use as a general hospital in the late 1960s when the tuberculosis epidemic in Alaska had abated. However, this facility was built in a seismically unstable area at 3rd and Gamble Streets. Groundbreaking ceremonies for construction of the new hospital were held on April 6, 1993, at the new site, 4200 Diplomacy Drive in the Tudor Center at Tudor and Burgaw Streets in Anchorage. The new hospital is funded by the federal government, replacing the 185,000 square foot structure built in 1953. Total new construction will include 376,000 square feet, 150 inpatient beds, plus a 59-bed hostel and new centers for disease control and prevention laboratory, and will total approximately $100 million when completed. The new facility will also serve as referral hospital for other healthcare facilities located in rural Alaska, as well as a training center for Indian healthcare programs. The construction will be done in 3 phases, with approximately 200 jobs anticipated at the height of construction. Construction contract for the first 2 phases involves site work, foundations, utilities, structural steel, primary mechanical and electrical systems, the elevators, the exterior skin and roofing for the main hospital building. The contract completion date for this phase is February 23, 1995. The final phase of the project involves finishing all of the mechanical and electrical systems, purchasing installation of medical equipment, and all interior finishes in the main hospital building. Phase 3 also includes all work related to the hostel and CDC laboratory buildings. The construction contract has a formal provision allowing for award of Phase 3 no later than May 31st, 1994. Final funding is anticipated in fiscal year 94 appropriations, which will allow completion of Phase 3 by August 1996. That's when the doors will open. Those walking through those doors will be met by an interior lobby designed for welcoming conversation and visiting for families and friends and patients who have traveled very far to get here. The circular design with its natural wood end seating is reminiscent of traditional gathering houses among natives across the state. The design phase was completed by NBBJ architectural firm in the spring of 1992. The contract for construction of the project was awarded to Ellis Don Construction Incorporated, the second largest construction company in Canada.
If you have news or information from your village or community, please call Heartbeat Alaska, area code 907-563-3507, or fax 907-563-7079.
4th of July is a big day across America, with hot dogs, games, lots of people gathering and having fun. Well, for Tlingit Indian Kathy Coles, this is an everyday occurrence.
Hey, step right up, we got room for players. Come on over, give it a try.
Kathy Coles was originally from Ketchikan, but for the last 6 years, she's called Golden Wheel Carnivals her home.
It started off as a summertime job about 6 years ago, and I liked it the first year, came back. It's become basically more of a home than actual job.
Have you traveled with the group?
Yeah, it's Alaska's only traveling carnival, so we travel statewide. We go anywhere from Fairbanks all the way down to Kodiak for the Crab Festival down there. We've traveled by land, car, boat, plane, train. We've even gone up to, I think it was Barrow a couple of years ago.
Where was the most exciting place you've been?
I'd have to say Kodiak would have to be it. Well, you get the ferry ride out there and different people, all the fishermen, and just, the Crab Festival, the festivity. So it's like venturing into the heart of Alaska.
Hi, my name's Carlene Pete, and I'd like to say happy 4th of July to my dad.
Where's your dad?
In Copper Center.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Kunuk. I'd like to say happy 4th of July to my grandmother, Walia Billum Hobson in Glen Ellen. Happy 4th of July, Grandma.
My name is Tom Malell from Grayling. I'd like to say happy 4th of July to my granddaughter, my daughter Corinne, my son Marlon in Sitka. Happy 4th of July.
We have games of skill, we have ring tosses, we have bushel baskets, we have things that test your eye-hand coordination, budgets where you buzz things. So it's back to the farmers. They started with farmers, actually, carnivals did.
My name's Jeremy Shaw, and I'm Cherokee Indian.
Where are you from?
Washington State.
What is this thing?
This is a fun house. Basically, it's like an obstacle course, a little obstacle course for the kids to go through.
Happy 4th of July. My name is Beth.
Hi, my name is Baxter Ahvakana. I was born in Barrow. Happy 4th of July to my mom up there and my half-brothers and sisters.
Fairbanks, Nome, Kotzebue, Manly Hot Springs, Venati, McGrath. I'd like to wish all my family and all of Alaska happy 4th of July.
As villages and communities across the state celebrate the 4th of July, each celebration takes on its own personality. In Russian Mission, for example, one of the events is a fish cutting contest. Let's take a look at what happens in Fort Yukon. Fort Yukon is an Athabascan village located north of Fairbanks on the Yukon River. Their 4th of July is always loads of fun with races of all kinds. A favorite is a sandlot with buried treasures. There's even a foot race for the older guys. This race is different, though. When these guys reach the finish line, they have to thread a needle. Another popular game is the egg toss, where after each round, the contestants move further and further apart. Of course, if you drop the egg, you're automatically eliminated. Eventually, the field is narrowed down to 3 teams. The distance of tossing the egg becomes greater and greater, and so do the chances of dropping it. Finally, after reaching a distance of over 50 feet, we have a winner.
Where's yours, Johnny?
Gee, I couldn't find a canoe or a partner.
Right there.
Later in the afternoon, everyone gathers on the banks of the river in preparation for the ever-popular boat races. The Athabaskan village of Fort Yukon in interior Alaska is definitely one of the places to be on 4th of July.
Hey, thanks to these airbags here, this job is now a piece of cake, Claire.
But Vince...
Yeah, I'll tell you something, partner. I just might stick around a few more years.
But Vince...
No more dashboard du jour or Vince under glass, huh?
But Vince...
Look out!
Even with airbags, Vince, you still got to remember to buckle your safety belt.
Now you tell me.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
We have always felt in harmony with the land.
Chakome, tapiwa, ta skumok, ta tapiachu, kenok anesche, matapiwa, makaspumos, akum.
Help the Soil Conservation Service help our earth. Call us today. We owe it to our children.
Doesn't it look like they have so much fun in Fort Yukon? I wish I was there right this minute. I hope everyone is having a safe 4th of July and looking forward to the fireworks all over Alaska this evening. I digress now from 4th of July. From time to time, we here in Heartbeat, Alaska have mentioned Television Northern Canada. We're aired 3 times a week across Canada now, and in honor of that, I'd like to reintroduce to you, if you haven't seen it before, one of the production facilities that contributes to Native broadcasting across that country. Northern Native Broadcasting, located in Whitehorse.
This is NEDAA, your eye on the Yukon. But there's more to Northern Native Broadcasting than meets the eye. Let's go back to the beginning. Northern Native Broadcasting grew out of the dreams and elbow grease of Ken Kane, Dave Porter, and George Henry. NNBY was set up through the Council for Yukon Indians in 1981. In May of '82, a 1-year training program in radio was launched for 6 participants of Native ancestry. By 1985, Shone FM was broadcasting 5 hours a day to 6 Yukon communities. Meanwhile, plans for a television program were already underway, and in November 1986, the first half-hour NEDAA program was produced. NNBY has grown a lot since the early days. We started out in the basement of the Council for Yukon Indians and moved to our present facility in 1985. Shone FM has extended its broadcast day from 5 to 12 hours. Shone is now heard all across the Yukon and via satellite across North America. NEDAA has expanded to a 1-hour show featuring news, current affairs, and special documentary presentations that are seen throughout the Yukon, Northwest Territories, Northern Quebec, and on CBC News World across the country. At NNBY, we are committed to promote, enhance, and encourage Native culture, language, and tradition through our radio and television programs.
Next song is going
NNBY isn't just TV and radio shows, it's the people that make it happen.
For Ekajanis, if only you could see you through my eyes. Their message is, welcome home, we missed you very much, and we'll be up to see you tonight.
Productions, the commercial arm of NNBY, was established in 1989. With Landry Vaughn and Frank Fry at the helm, KAI has produced a variety of excellent work, including dramatic presentations, feature documentaries, and music videos. Here's a look at a recent KAI production. NNBY is still growing. We're proud to be part of Television Northern Canada. We're proud to be bringing quality programs like NEDAA to Canadians across the North. We're also proud to bring you two new programs, Our People, Dadan, a half-hour show which will profile and celebrate Yukon Native people. And Let's Talk, Tugohia, a current affairs program focusing on the people whose decisions directly affect our day-to-day lives.
All if we stand together, not one of us will fall.
Hi, I'm Joann Henry, General Manager for Northern Native Broadcasting, Yukon, and we're proud to be partners in Television Northern Canada. Before NNBY was established, Native issues were seldom seen or heard in the Yukon media. But since our organization has been around, we work hard to ensure that our people's voice is heard, that our audience is informed, and that our culture is preserved. With that, welcome to TVNC.
I'm looking forward to more news from Canada. If you're in Canada and you'd like to give me a call, it's area code 907-563-3507. I look forward to hearing from you. In Alaska, I'm always waiting for video from your village. We're interested in what you consider news. Elise Patkotak lives at the top of the world in Barrow. Many of you may know her through all the commentary she's given us on this program. Well, here's another one.
The look is back. It's the look that says, I've had fresh cooked muktuk and I feel great. After a crew lands a whale here, the captain's wife, the wives of the crew members, and just about anyone else who volunteers to help spend the next 24 hours cutting and cooking so that they can serve a meal to the town. It's an awesome concept, feeding hundreds of people out of a small kitchen in your house. For hours, these men and women saw and cut and boil and bake. The first serving is usually done at lunch the day after the whale has been killed and butchered. People are sometimes lined up around the block waiting to get in and get their share. After a long, cold winter, the first taste of boiled muktuk is irresistible. The first time I ever went to a captain's house, I'd only been in town a few weeks. The public health nurse invited me to follow her. I was appalled. I had just arrived from New York City. New York is not the kind of place where you drop in uninvited, even if you know the people. And this lady wanted me to follow her to the home of strangers and eat their food. I arrived at the captain's house to be greeted by a line that wound around the block and back again. Kids were running and playing in the yard. Ski-doos made multiple entrances and exits as they brought more of the whale in from the beach. It was a scene of jubilantly organized chaos, and I was taken in and accepted as part of it as though I had lived there for 100 years. The only time I was treated differently was when the servers made a special effort to explain to me what I was eating, or make sure I had enough tea and had found the pot with boiling fruit. Nowhere in the highest society New York had to offer could I find more gracious and warm manners. I think it was around then that I stopped feeling quite so homesick for New York and started thinking that maybe this Alaskan thing hadn't been such a bad idea after all. Since I'm still here 20 years later, I guess I was right.
Thank you so much for joining me here on Heartbeat Alaska Native News Across the North. I'm Jeannie Green. Join me again next week, won't you? See you then.
Someday this stammering tongue will falter no more, and a grander, sweeter song I shall sing. For I'll join the ransom choir on heaven's bright shore, forever to praise the King. And while the ages roll, I'll keep on praising Him, and my voice will never tire or grow old, and my song